Pecan of paint was the exact shade of a summer sky moments after the sun has dipped below the horizon, when the world is bathed in a luminous, hopeful blue. It was called Serenity's Edge. To Alara Vance, it was more than a color, it was a promise. She stood on the pristine, cobbled path of Morning Glory Lane, the July sun warming her shoulders, and held the sample card up against their front door. The existing color was colonial white, a bland, inoffensive, and utterly soul-crushing shade that was mandated for all 57 houses in the Willow Creek HOA. "See, Martin," she said, her voice vibrating with a quiet excitement she hadn't felt in months. "It's not blue. It's a whisper. It's the first breath of evening." Martin Vance emerged from the garage, wiping grease from his hands onto an old rag. He was a man built of solid, comfortable lines, a history teacher whose natural habitat was a classroom filled with the dusty smell of old books, not the manicured perfection of Willow Creek. He squinted, his kind, tired eyes shifting from the card to his wife's face. He saw the way her gray eyes, usually clouded with a subtle anxiety, had cleared. He saw the faint smile playing on her lips. It was the look she'd had when she'd first proposed opening her art studio, before the city's zoning laws and the HOA's strict no in-home businesses clause had crushed the dream. "It's very blue, Alara," he said gently, coming to stand beside her. "It's Serenity's Edge," she corrected, her tone soft but firm. "And it's not against the rules. The bylaws say neutral, earth-tone doors approved by the Architectural Review Committee. They never defined earth-toned. Is the sky not of this earth?" Martin chuckled, a low, rumbling sound. "I think you'll find the ARC's definition of earth is limited to beige, grayish, and that particularly sad shade of brown they call weathered oak." He put an arm around her, pulling her close. She felt thin beneath his touch. The last year had worn them both down. The financial strain of his mother's medical bills, the quiet death of her dream, the constant, low-grade pressure of keeping up appearances in a neighborhood where everyone's grass was perpetually 2 inches tall. "I know it's silly," Alara murmured, leaning into him. "But every time I come home, this white door feels like a sigh of disappointment. It's the first thing I see. I just want it to be a hello, a welcome, a little piece of us." From inside the house, the screen door slammed. Their 15-year-old daughter, Chloe, bounded out, her earbuds in, her dyed black hair a stark contrast to the peach and cream palette of the neighborhood. She was a storm of teenage contradiction, all sharp angles and soft heart, wrapped in a uniform of ripped jeans and a band t-shirt for a group Martin was sure didn't exist. "Whoa," she said, pulling one butt out. "Are we actually rebelling? Is that color?" A slow grin spread across her face. "I didn't know we had it in us. Does the HOA Gestapo know?" "Chloe," Martin said, a warning note in his voice. "Don't call them that." "Why not? Mrs. Gable across the street totally looks like she has a secret bunker full of violation notices and tear gas." Chloe snatched the paint card. "Serenity's Edge. Cool. Can we do my room in Anarchy Crimson next?" Alara laughed, a real, genuine laugh that made Martin's heart clench. This was why. For that sound. For the light in his daughter's eyes, seeing her parents do something. Anything. Deviating from the script. "It's just a door, Martin," Alara said, turning to him, her eyes pleading now. "What's the worst that could happen?" Martin looked at his two girls. He looked at the oppressive whiteness of the door. He thought of the endless committee meetings, the pettiness, the way Harold Gable, the HOA president, had lectured him for 10 minutes because their recycling bin had been visible from the street for 20 minutes. After pickup, he thought of the crushing weight of normalcy. Then he looked at the hope in Alara's eyes. He sighed, a sound of surrender. "All right, Serenity's Edge it is. But if Harold has an aneurysm, I'm telling him it was your idea." The painting became an event. They moved on a Saturday, with the sun high and a classic rock station blasting from the garage. Chloe, to their surprise, put her phone down and demanded a brush. Martin handled the trim with a surgeon's precision, while Alara and Chloe filled in the panels with broad, joyful strokes. The old white disappeared under the vibrant, calming blue. Laughter echoed on Morning Glory Lane, a foreign sound amongst the gentle hum of lawnmowers and leaf blowers. By evening, it was done. They stood back, a tired, paint-splattered trio, and admired their work. The door glowed. It was bold, yes, but beautiful. It made the red brick of their house seem warmer, the green of the hydrangeas more vivid. It looked like a home, their home. Alara slipped her hand into Martin's. "Thank you," she whispered. As dusk settled, the first comment came. Barbara Gable, Harold's wife, emerged from her perfectly symmetrical house, a tiny, perfectly groomed Bichon Frise tucked under her arm. She stopped dead on the sidewalk, her jaw unhinging slightly. She offered a tight, horrified smile that didn't reach her eyes, gave a weak wave, and scurried back inside. "And so it begins," Chloe muttered. Martin felt a knot of anxiety tighten in his stomach. Alara's grip on his hand tightened, but her chin was raised. She was staring at the door, at their beautiful, wrong-colored door, and she was smiling. It was worth it, he told himself. It was just a door. Chapter 2. The first shot across the bow. The official notice arrived 3 days later. It wasn't in the mail. It was hand-delivered, slipped into their screen door in a crisp, cream-colored envelope with the Willow Creek HOA embossed logo in the corner. Martin found it on his way to work. The knot in his stomach, which had loosened over the last few days, immediately retightened. He brought it inside, the paper feeling unnaturally heavy. "What's that?" Alara asked, sipping her coffee at the kitchen island. "Summons from the mothership," Chloe said without looking up from her cereal bowl. Martin slid the letter out. It was written in a cold, legalistic tone. To the residents of 421, Morning Glory Lane. This letter serves as official notification of a violation of the Willow Creek Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions, CC and RS, specifically Section 4.2.1, Exterior Color Schemes. Asterisk an unapproved, non-conforming color has been applied to your front door. All exterior modifications must be pre-approved by the Architectural Review Committee. The cited element must be returned to its original, compliant state within 14 days of this notice, asterisk. Failure to comply will result in the levying of fines as described in Section 12.5, beginning at $100 and accruing daily until the violation is remedied. Sincerely, Harold Gable, President Willow Creek Homeowners Association. The kitchen was silent. Alara put her mug down with a sharp click. $100, she said, her voice thin. For a door? Accruing daily, Martin read aloud, the words ash in his mouth. He can't be serious. Alara stood up, snatching the letter. It's a color. It's beautiful. Everyone who's seen it has complimented it. Who's everyone, Mom? Chloe asked. Mrs. Donnelly, who's half-blind and thinks I'm her granddaughter? The Amazon guy. The Millers said they loved it. Alara insisted, her cheeks flushing. And Sarah Jenkins from down the street. The Jenkinses are renters, Martin said quietly. They don't have a vote. This was Harold's power. He didn't need a majority. He needed only the support of a few other homeowners on the board, people who had bought into Willow Creek precisely for its monotonous perfection, who saw any deviation not as self-expression but as a threat to their property values and their meticulously ordered world. We'll talk to him, Alara said, her eyes flashing with a determination Martin hadn't seen since her studio battle. We'll explain. We'll show him the color card. We'll get a petition. Alara, Martin began, but she was already grabbing her phone. Sarah Jenkins will sign it. And the Millers. And the Wilsons. We're not the only ones who find these rules oppressive. She started typing furiously. Martin's teacher mind, accustomed to navigating bureaucracy, was less optimistic. Harold Gable was not a man who responded to reason or emotion. He responded to rules. The rules were his scripture, and he was their high priest. That evening, Martin went next door to see Harold. He found him in his immaculate garage, where every tool was outlined in black on a pegboard, and the floor shone like dark glass. Harold was calibrating a laser level. He was a tall, spare man with a permanent frown etched onto his face, as if he were constantly smelling something faintly off. Martin, he said, not looking up from his level. Hear about the notice, I assume. Harold, look, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We just wanted to brighten the place up a bit. The rules are clear, Martin. Pre-approval. Neutral tones. Colonial white is the approved color for all front doors in the original subdivision. He finally looked up, his eyes pale and unwavering. Your wife chose Serenity's Edge. That is not colonial white. It's a very subtle blue, Martin argued, feeling foolish. It's almost a gray. It's earthy. Harold's smile was thin and humorless. The sky is not of the earth, Martin. The committee has ruled. The door must be repainted. The fines will begin on the 18th. Martin felt a surge of anger, hot and sudden. For God's sake, Harold, it's a door. Don't you have anything better to do? What about the pothole developing at the entrance? Or the Johnson's fence that's starting to sag? This is what you're focused on. Harold's expression didn't change. The rules are the rules. They protect everyone's investment. If we make an exception for you, then the Garcias will want a magenta door, and the Petersons will want a neon green garage. Chaos. It's a slippery slope. You, of all people, a historian, should understand the importance of order. This was Harold's masterstroke, framing his pettiness as a noble, philosophical stand against entropy. Meanwhile, Ilara's petition garnered a grand total of 4 signatures. Sarah Jenkins signed eagerly, but the Millers and Wilsons, when approached, had suddenly developed amnesia about their compliments. Well, we did think it was lovely, Brenda Miller said, not meeting Ilara's eyes, her voice hushed as if Harold might be listening from the bushes. But rules are rules, you know? We don't want to make waves. The fear was palpable. Harold's reign was secure because he had made everyone afraid of becoming his next target. 14 days came and went. The door remained Serenity's edge. On the 15th day, a second notice arrived. The fine was now $100, with an additional $25 per day until the matter was resolved. The total at the bottom of the page was already $125. This is insane, Ilara seethed, pacing the living room. We're not paying it. If we don't pay it, they can put a lien on the house, Martin said, his head in his hands. He'd spent the evening reading the CC and RS, a document more complex than the U.S. Constitution. Harold was right. They had the power. Let them try. Ilara cried. I'll go to the news. I'll put it on Facebook. Her rant was cut short by the doorbell. Chloe answered it. It was a young couple, well-dressed, with a real estate agent hovering nervously behind them. Oh, hello, the woman said brightly. We're just doing a neighborhood tour. We love your door. It's so refreshing. The agent, a man named Tim whose smile was strained, whispered to Martin. Sorry, Harold Gable is doing showings today, highlighting the uniform character of the neighborhood. I tried to skip this one. Ilara overheard. Her face, moments ago flushed with anger, now went pale. Harold was using their house as a counterexample, a cautionary tale for potential buyers. As the couple left, the woman turned back. Really, it's gorgeous. Makes the whole house seem so much more alive. The door closed. The silence in the Vance house was broken only by the soft hum of the refrigerator and the sound of their crumbling resolve. The war was cold, quiet, and excruciatingly polite. The fines piled up. $150, $175, $200. The notices now came weekly, the total a terrifying tally at the bottom of the page. They became a dark ritual, with Martin bringing the envelope in and adding it, unopened, to a growing pile on the kitchen counter. The neighborhood itself seemed to turn against them. Where once there had been casual waves and brief chats about the weather, now there was only averted eyes and hurried steps. They were pariahs. Harold had successfully painted them not as a nice family who'd painted their door, but as reckless anarchists threatening the very foundation of Willow Creek. Chloe felt it most acutely at first. Her best friend, Lily, who lived 3 streets over, was suddenly too busy to hang out. Chloe overheard Lily's mother at the community mailbox. And I just don't want Lily getting caught up in that drama. It's a shame, really. Martin seems like such a sensible man. Chloe came home and slammed her bedroom door so hard the pictures in the hallway rattled. I hate it here, she screamed, her voice muffled by the door. I hate these people. We should have never moved to this stupid, perfect prison.